people think that I'm being prejudiced. Nah, man, like how in the am I being prejudiced when I rather respect the culture than exploit it?
I don't understand Latinos that use that word. Like, I just don't get the method.
That's a great topic.
I don't get the methodology behind that.
Well, I think that, look, man, what it is this, okay? Like right now, currently, right, there's a post of a clip of me on No Jumper saying that the difference between Northern California Hispanics and Southern California Hispanics is that the Northern California Hispanics have lost their identity, have lost their culture, and have adapted more of the black culture.
Oh, I
right?
saw that clip.
Okay, I'm catching a storm in my DM.
Now, she said something about prejudice and it not really fitting right with certain people, whatever have you. She said, right. It kind of reminds me of people trying to call like so-called black people racist. You know what I mean? Not to say black people can't have a disdain for another race, but to be racist, that don't really just be in our DNA. Now, to return the energy that you've been getting, like I said, for a long time, would only come natural after some certain time. You know what I'm saying? It's not like it's not like the hate was initiated on the so-called black side, right? It's you getting a certain energy and you give a certain energy, right? And you know what else is crazy, right? It's like we gonna touch on the culture and you know what I mean, and certain stilos and this, that, and the third. Just stay tuned.
In the comments. So first and foremost, what I would like to say is this, right? First and foremost, when you're calling the black culture Northern culture, is wrong. It's not a Northern culture. It's the black culture, first and foremost. Like for Northerners to think that they can just take that
like the
and call it
hyphy
theirs is delusional. And that just goes to show how far you guys are from your
This is
roots.
based off of E40.
What I'm saying, listen, let's not narrow it down to an artist, right? Let's just give the black culture the credit that they deserve,
Okay.
right? They have such a big impact in every culture now that people from Northern California are calling it theirs. It's not yours. First of all, when you say it, say we have adopted the black culture. Let's just be completely honest with ourselves and call it what it is. Like they want to call it theirs. It's not yours, bro. It's the black culture.
So sounds to me like Bozo got a problem with the Northerners carrying themselves a certain way, right? And he attributes the way they carry themselves to black, so-called black people, right? When we in the up north, it's just a certain like certain things are regional. You get what I'm saying? So say like the way y'all carry yourself in LA, it's kind of like it's you know, just for instance, for example, how heavy the gangbang culture. It's like that's the culture down there. You know, going dumb, hyphy, certain things is the culture. It don't got nothing to do with this or that. You get what I'm saying, right? And it's you know, I'm just give me a second.
Okay, and second of all, if you really love this culture the way you love it, you would respect it. The best way to give a culture their flowers is by respecting it and by protecting it. You exploiting it and benefiting from it without going to their struggles, without investing in their communities, without investing in their artists is bullshit. Like for me, for Latino artists to take the N-word and use it to make money, right, off of it, and not once come back and pay for a feature from a up and coming black artist, or to, let's say, put into the communities is bullshit. You're not paying homage.
Now, see, right, coming from the politics Bozo come from, it you know, comes off a bit disingenuous that you're upset, right? That people are exploiting the so-called black community, right? It's like you know, your gripes with other Mexicanos, right, or Hispanics, or this, that, and the third, right, is that they're not contributing to the you know, the culture that they're so-called exploiting or taking from, right? And the politics you come from don't even allow you to feel, you know what I'm saying? Now, as an individual, you could agree, or you could just not even have the feelings of the group. You get what I'm saying? But you know, oftentimes, right, people who come from certain politics, certain gangs, it's like the hate and the you know what I'm saying? So it just come across like some hate and this, that, and the third, especially given the fact, right, that, you say, oh, they kind of like lost their stilo, and it's like they're trying to be. Well, guess what? What do you got to say about this?
This is the longest overdue discussion we're ever going to have. Who started the low riding culture? Many would say black culture, but Mexican Americans have claimed this culture. Now I looked it up, and it says the oldest car club was in the 1930s, right? That's a good year. Remember that. So I looked it up, and it said the Dukes started theirs in 1962. Okay, that's pretty cool. In Southern California. All right, pretty good. Now, I couldn't.
Now, see how I made mention, right, of certain things being regional. So, low riding culture may have started in Southern California, but is you paying attention to who was there at its inception? Are you paying attention?
Find their photos of a 1930s Cadillac, but I could find ours. So I dug a little deeper, and the term lowrider was first used by police in the 1960s as a derogatory term for young black people who were causing trouble, quote unquote. Then when you look further, it started in 1950s, early 1950s in San Diego. That takes me back to the zoot suits. Remember how I came from Harlem and then y'all claimed it in LA? Okay. Again, I tried to look for these people and their cars of the lowriders, and I couldn't find any, but I can find ours, right? Unless I'm forgetting something here, because remember, it said it started in the 1930s. So you have to remember who was classified as what back then. And please remember that these two races never got along, so we didn't have anything to gain by you integrating into our neighborhoods. We didn't have to copy anything you did. This brings me back to this movie called Halls of Anger, where in Los Angeles, a school of 3,000 colored black kids were bombarded by 60 white kids suddenly being integrated into their schools. Now, that's just really crazy, right? Because when you think about the classification back then, what were they? Right. It was only colored and white back then. So when you think of this, which by the way, this is the first movie that talked about any lowrider or anything in Los Angeles, you remember who was classified as white and who fought to be classified as white. In 1930. So when you look this up and you see that the movie actually talks about desegregation of an inner city in Los Angeles, you have to remember who came here and was classified as what and integrated into whom's neighborhood. And please don't forget and remember, a lot of our people were pushed south because they no longer could afford the neighborhood because of whom?
Hey, shout out Miss Wake It the fuck up, on TikTok. Y'all go follow her, tap into her page. But you get the gist of it, right? Now, the thing is, right? So this right just goes back to a lot of, a lot of swag, a lot of influence, and whatever else we lend to the culture or just give out. Because a lot of what it seems that happens, right, is a lot of the culture gets ripped off, gets whatever, and then next thing you know, it's a cat trying to claim it, or it's a group of cats trying to claim it, and it's crazy, right? That's why it's important to know your history, know what then transpired, so that way you don't go back through them same, you know what I mean? But you know what's crazy, right? It reminds me of, it's like the position we in today, we innovative, right? So we keep coming up with new things and we keep being innovative, but it's crazy because even still to this day, we being ripped off. You know what I'm saying? And it's not like we don't complain. We know we see what a motherfucker doing. We happy to give you some swag. We don't be having no problem with that, right? But the thing is, this is the repercussions of the culture being hijacked right here.
To the resellers, a lot of you culture vultures white kids came in, y'all started wearing Jordans and jacking up the price. Because I'm gonna be honest, when I was in high school, when I was early 2000s, late 90s, white niggas wasn't wearing Jordans. You know what I mean? Like, it might have been like 2 or 3 white kids that grew up around blacks and listen to hip hop who might throw some mics on, but the majority wasn't. That was like a trendy thing. Like, white kids is wearing everything that we doing. And I'm not trying to sound like a racist or whatever, but a lot of y'all infiltrated the sneaker culture only for profit and gain, and y'all wasn't a part of it. Like, y'all didn't know what it was like waking up, going into the store, seeing some shit you ain't know was coming out, or getting the East Bay magazine. And yeah, I mean, just being able to buy the Jordans retail is like so refreshing, because I never paid resale my whole life until I got out of high school. Like, it was even the patent leathers, you could still, like, it might, I remember, like, I'd say maybe 9th or 10th, you might see a line with like 2, 3 niggas, but like not this crazy shit. And I don't mind the line shit. Like, I'm not knocking the line shit. I'm knocking the niggas that came in and proliferated the community and was charging niggas 3, 4, 5, 10s, 5 times what the shoes was worth. And that shit is over.
Oh man, I couldn't have said it any better, man. Shout out We're All Set on TikTok, man. You go tap into their TikTok when you get a chance, right? But you know, remember how if you think about how the lady, right, she brought up the fact that certain people want to be classified a certain way, right? That goes back to the politics, and it goes back to the disingenuous narrative, right? You trying to say, oh, you not contribute. So what I would say is this, man. It's like, you know, we land and swag out all day, every day, you know, and it's just a trip, bro. Like how certain things get spun out of control and out of, you know, and it get misconstrued on where it started and what's what and this, that, and that. You see, it's in our culture, right? We often, like, once we finish with something, it's on to the next. And then a motherfucker can act like, oh, it's new, and I like the backpack. You know, it's just, you know, I'm gonna say this, man. It comes across, Bozo, as you got some disdain for a certain type of swag or a certain type of people, man. And then it goes back to your politics, and then it goes back to, you know, your ancestors and their classification preferences. You get what I'm saying? And it's deep, bro. You know, but to touch on now, like where we at with it now in the culture, we got a bunch of motherfuckers driving up the prices on the J. I remember when I was in school, right? Middle school, and I seen a nigga. It used to be 1 or 2 people, man, coming to school with the J's, man, and you know, it's a trip because it's like the culture now is just extorted, right? And you got motherfuckers in the culture who act like just all type of people, man. But yeah, man, I had to chime on this. Y'all seen it was a debate about the lowrider culture, and I seen Bozo speaking on certain things, and I seen this about this. So I'm like, let's bring it all together. You know what I'm saying? It only makes sense, and it's a trip, bruh. Like I can't stop saying it. It's like, damn, you know. And the thing is, the youngsters, right? That's why I say it's important to know your history, because the youngsters, right, that's coming up nowadays, don't even know that. They just think you might be with a whatever or whoever. He might be like it's a motherfucker on TikTok, right? Caucasian brother, and I got Caucasian folks, nigga. It's not about that. It's about the ones who don't. It's not what you do, it's how you do it. You come in the motherfucking culture acting like you done made it, or acting like you just fucking nigga. You know, it's, you know, no other culture can motherfuckers come in, right, and act like it's theirs or steal. Or, you feel me? We the only ones who let motherfuckers do that shit, because we don't be tripping. We know we gonna come out with something new in the next 5 minutes. You know what I'm saying? So we don't really be tripping. But it just be a trip when you see these motherfuckers in the culture making a bag off the culture, man. It's so many culture vultures in this shit right now. From the shoe reselling to the motherfucking music to clothes to all this shit. Like, that was never your swag, man. Fuck is you doing? Fuck, you know, y'all let me know what y'all think, man. Down below.